Hello everyone and welcome back to the Breakworks and another match of Beyond All Reason. This time it is finally time for our, say, once a month Supreme Isthmus gaming review, where we're going to take a look at Supreme Isthmus and see what some of the very best of the best are up to on this time-tested fan favorite of a map. And I've got a very high level match for you here today, one that I combed through the replays for and did discover to contain, at the very least, the number 2 commander on the team leaderboards today. It's not who we have in blue here, actually. Maybe a little bit of a fudge right there on the introductions. But the blue commander here is spawning in the Navy lane. It's going to be none other than 56 open skill hero, known by the name of Comrade. Yeah, Comrade, the blue team leader at 56 open skill. My goodness, open skills sure have gotten big. I feel like I'm back in my daying everybody every time I say that, but 56 was like unheard of when I started playing Bar. Nowadays, that's kind of where the pros linger, and I've definitely seen higher ones too in some of the other game modes as well. But Comrade going to be the blue team leader, spawning in the tech position here for the red team. It's going to be, interestingly enough, an Armada commander. It goes by the name of Indie Club. Now, if you're a fan of the small team games and the 1v1 games, and or really Bar in general, you've probably seen Indie Club around, a very talented player, and one that's going to be showing us apparently what they think is the best tech build to go for on Supreme Isthmus. Extremely curious to see what goes down here because, well, I'm not really a Supreme Isthmus enjoyer. I don't like this map very much, and it's probably not surprising to many of you, but maybe it is. And the reason being is that basically every time I play this map, it feels like I lose. Yeah, I don't know, probably a skill issue thing there. But yeah, I don't know, I'm sour about this map, but it does mean that I am very personally interested in seeing how the best of the best do decide to play it. Now, interestingly here, the blue commander is spawning in the Navy, which means, of course, that we have ourselves a little bit of a asymmetric match. That's the right word for it. Where blue commander is going to be taking over the water here, and we have the brown commander going into, well, the Navy, quote-unquote, the Navy here. We have a vehicle lab, and we're going for amphibious constructors, which is interesting. Sending one of these constructors over to the island to try and build some of these metal extractors. The blue commander has got to be happy with that scout, seeing that they're up against the 16 open skill hero here in the red team, Mr. Mafia. Not to discredit Mr. Mafia before they've gotten a chance to show us what they can do, but I will certainly say that when you're the red or blue commander, when you're the top commander going up against the bottom OS commander on the other team, it's certainly a comfort to know that you might be able to get away with a little bit more, a little bit extra, maybe play some of those cheeky strategies you otherwise wouldn't quite be able to afford. But we've got triple Resbot out here for the red commander, rushing into that geothermal. I think we intend to use the commander to build this geothermal eventually here. There we go. Oh no, we're gonna go for more wind turbines. Okay. Wait for the E-storage to actually hold all the energy that those Resbots are collecting, and then eventually we are going to go into that geothermal. Some construction turrets here as well to try and build up these metal extractors and whatnot, and eventually this all looks fairly standard. I mean, this is par for the course here for any sort of geothermal rush on Supreme Isthmus. Meanwhile, in the midsection, a hotly contested battlefield, we do have Marco trying to set up an LLT, but thugs are already rolling out of the lab right now for the yellow commander. Sort of a standard grunt plus Resbot rush, except we've transitioned into thugs a little bit sooner. And I actually like that a lot, because we are going up against a vehicle commander, so you're going to need those thugs a little bit earlier to go up against that comm. Thugs, of course, also very beefy. Means that they can go toe-to-toe with a lot of these units on the front here very easily, not to mention, of course, firing away those commanders. Geothermal is up and running. We go into build power immediately here. We still have Resbots eating up trees, which are providing tons of power to the red team, and in fact, we might even be wasting power at this point. But once these construction turrets come up, there's really, the world is your oyster. You can kind of go into as much as you want. It looks like construction towers, energy converters are going to be the choice here for the red commander, and then eventually into a vehicle lab. Alright. Tech here for the blue team, similar build as you can see. Oh, also an Armada commander, okay. A little bit of a change of pace because recently we have been seeing a whole bunch of those Cortex rushes, featuring Czars, of course. That's a very old build, but that has been the meta for a long time, is to go into those Czars, but also recently, of course, we've seen the Banishers become very popular. Interesting here that we are starting to see a little bit of a change. Maybe Armada commanders feeling a little bit more comfortable countering those types of pushes with things like Starlights or, for instance, Sharpshooters out of the T2 Armada bot lab there. Anyway, thug numbers are building on the front line here. Marco has managed to hold this front with just good old-fashioned commander LLT spam here, but it does put the green commander in a little bit of a position. Literally in a little bit of a position, a little too far forward here. As you can see, the blue line is kind of back here, where the green line is up here, and it leaves open a giant opportunity path for flanking. Oh, nice handoff right there. Hey, did you see that? Sifos inherited all these LLTs so they can actually fire since Marco is E-starved. Oh, what a cute little trade-off right there.
Commander self-destructed.
Okay. With the push and pull, the ebb and flow of these front lines, eventually things sort of even out right here for the blue and red teams. But I don't think either one really managed to gain that much of an advantage, if only slightly the red team. You know what? The blue team has those mechs up for so long, though. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I think the mechs advantage is worth it. T2 vehicle lab coming up right here for the red commander, going to be going ahead and sacking that commander very shortly here. You can see that comm starting to move away here. About 6 minutes is basically the regular timing as we start to make our way into that Tech 2 production. We have the E-converters here to, well, get a bunch of that energy converted into metal. Yeah, trying not to blow up friendly units, but, you know, they're kind of... The tech here is more valuable than a single resbot. Sacrifices must be made for the greater good. Yeah, Redcom is trying desperately to avoid that resbot, but okay, we'll turn around. Thank goodness. Resbot peeled off here to go eat up all that corpse. Of course, that's 1,025 metal. Going back to this lab, it should be more than enough to pump out at least one of these units. Looks like we are going Constructor first. Okay, so it's a little bit less of an aggressive build. If you want to get really aggressive with it, wow. Marco, very expletive here as he looks back and discovers no tech on the horizon for the powder blue commander, who's just gone nicely into a bunch of wind turbines, some E-converters, really just taking their time to enjoy the surroundings here. Where is the commander gone? Oh, Witcher 13 is on the front line. Oh, okay. If you can put your commander on the front line, if it can manage to sneak around the side and do a bunch of damage to one of these commanders, for instance, the T2 commander, it can be a huge pain. Not the play here for Witcher 13, who is the 25 open skill 4-Chev hero here in the backline. We'll go ahead and yeah, delete some of that. There we go. I hit the wrong button, but they went away anyway. Suddenly the blue team is in a huge disadvantage. Despite the actual blue commander here doing a great job of securing this front line over here, just lightly harassing with the LLT and trying to force the brown commander, keep the brown commander rather, out of the water. Yeah, the blue commander comrade here has basically been uncontested. Can kind of do whatever they would like, and apparently that's going to be a couple of res subs. And surprisingly, not an amphibious lab or anything like that. We're not going for eco greed, nothing like that, which is kind of normally what you would see when you know that you're going up against a Navy commander that doesn't really have any other options. Looks like we will have a spicy little commander hug here. They kiss.
Commander has died.
They die.
Commander has died.
Another commander goes down right here. The green commander on the front lines does try and comb bomb Southie, but the orange commander escapes with just barely any life left. 16% HP, but still standing. Better than they ever were. Red commander supporting with those Mauser, which of course require quite a lot of support in order to actually stay in position and then firing away. When firing away, though, they can be pretty much unstoppable in the T1 tier. They are very cheap. They're an effectively cheap option. 320 metal for a single one of these for tons of AoE, tons of direct fire damage. Well, I guess not direct fire, but tons of damage nonetheless. You can see how effectively they trade against all these units here. Easily getting their money's worth right now. We have a rattlesnake coming up right here that is going to be the answer from the blue team, trying to use that T2 defensive tower here, used a little bit offensively to try and force those Mauser backwards, not allowing them to interact with these T1 units. But what a graveyard we've built up on the front line here. Thousands and thousands of metal. We can activate our metal vision and see here 4,500 metal-ish. Very good to see. We are... What are we going into here for the blue commander? Comrade, a little bit unsure. This sort of seems like we're a little unsure about maybe what we want to go into. Transport has been built here. We're more than likely going to be building more construction power and then moving these around to try and build up these T2 metal extractors a little bit quicker here. Wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of greed. Like, just go for a fusion reactor, an early fusion reactor or something like that, and then go into a bunch of, like, amphibious bots, like platypus, something like that. Economy being boosted here. All of a sudden, we do have the mexes coming up and running, and those produce 9.2 metal per second. Is quite gigantic. Comtrade being eaten up nicely here by the Seafoam Green Commander, Dat Coder, who will win the naval battle, I believe. Yeah, these oppressors are going to start rolling out on the field here, and once 2 or 3 or 4 of those are out on the field and you have supremacy over your, well, enemy commander, there's not a lot you can do. Yeah, no T2 was ever handed out here for the pink commander. They did ask, but no T2 could be spared here as the red commander has a plan in mind. How are the ecos looking for each of these teams? Fusion reactors starting up pretty late, actually, for the Tan Commander. Typically, you would eat this T2 laboratory and use that metal to actually pay for the T2 fusion reactor, but we're a little bit shy on build power right here, which the Tancom is trying to correct for right now, but obviously that is a time constraint rather than really a resource one, at least for the time being. Deacon's away right here from the yellow commander. Does catch a whole bunch of those pawns. Will it be enough? Ooh, killer Deacon's right there, but it won't be enough as the rattlesnake, the pawns, and all the rest of it manage to get the kill on the yellow commander on the front line. Nicely done. Clears the field a little bit here. Little bit of naval harassment. Not the end of the world, of course, but it is nice. Wind, ooh, a little bit of trouble. Pink Commander, ooh, nice move. Pink Commander, good reaction there from Comrade. Does actually manage to pull those boats back before the Commander can degun, but that blue comm is lurking on the shore here, waiting for the perfect opportunity. Deguns away, catches one of the frigates. That's quite nice. Destroyers are going to, of course, be the more juicy target there, so hopefully, well, at least for the blue commander, that can eventually take place. Oh, seaplane transition. Okay. That's totally valid. These seaplane tsunami bombers are pretty good. They're sort of somewhere between a heavy and a light bomber. They basically have the HP and the speed of a light bomber, but they have the damage output of a heavy bomber. They drop the high impulse bombs here. Medium air to ground impulse warheads. I guess those are the medium bombers, which makes a lot of sense, you know, between heavy and small. The math adds up. Southie going to eat up the corpse here of his friend, enjoying a delicious commander dinner in order to go for some more of these T2 metal extractors. Wouldn't mind a little more build power back here as well, but that's nitpicking on top of right now a very precarious situation, certainly one that's not worth worrying about. Red Commander does have that AGO up and running. Now, it's nice to have that AGO, certainly. That's 1,000 basically free energy production. Well, you pay 1,600 metal to get 1,250. It's almost a 1-to-1 energy to metal ratio. Meanwhile, Navy is completely swamped right here by the Seafoam Green. Manages to quite easily overrun the enemy. I mean, this is the difference of 2,500 metal. It's hold on, let me see here. It's like 2 of these destroyers, but it makes a world of difference here. Really, the frigates are kind of where the difference is made, honestly. Yeah, these frigates here, you can see that's about 5 frigates. And it means this composition easily swarms through the defenses here of the Pink Commander, and all of a sudden, the Southern Sea is won. The Northern Sea is won. The red team in shambles. With an APHIS starting up in a critical moment right here, we really need some sort of a response or some big damage dealt on the other side of the map, but there's just no such thing. Do we have any nuclear options building either? Doesn't look like either team has really gone for that sort of a strategy. The Purple Commander also just finishing up a fusion, so both the tech players a little bit slow on the draw here. But we do still have a little bit of production coming up here. We have the sort of wind turbine strategy coming up that's been very popular recently as well. Tsunami bombers. Looking for Southie. Yeah, they want to grab that commander. Fighters, nicely done with the fighters. Are actually in position to guard that bombing run right there. Ooh, bombs away. Oh, Southie barely avoids it. Orange commander escaping with their life as those medium bombers are shot out of this guy right here. Nicely done by the air player in maroon, who does manage to pump out enough of those fighters to defend against that air raid. Starlight on the front, a vital target to keep alive. Ooh, there's just not the units for it. Yeah, Southie wants to defend with that commander, of course, but there's no energy for a cloak. There's no E for D-guns even. Commander goes down, but frankly speaking, that Starlight was toast regardless. Now the front line is in a huge, huge issue. We've got Platypus. We started building Platypus out of the good old-fashioned console here. Maybe thinking about doing a little bit of raiding. Platypus are an effective land unit, though. I think they do clean this up eventually. But the red team, or the red commander rather, calls GG as the orange comm does fall. It's only 4 or 5 dead metal extractors, but that can be a gigantic advantage early into the T2 mid-game. Lightning tanks still pretty good, though. They are going to fire away here and deal, well, quite a bit of damage to a bunch of these units. The Janus will fall, and very shortly thereafter, the medium tanks, the Whistlers, all the rest of it go down. Lightning tanks really are your solution here. Pitbull turret, actually pretty good. One of those few units that can be quite effective against medium tanks. Still only so fast, though, and the single medium tank makes it through. Very annoying. Shuriken, hey, I like that play. Yeah, a couple of Shuriken, very nicely done. Managed to paralyze this, turn a quite difficult situation to deal with into a pretty easy situation to deal with. No follow-up push here from the blue commander, or blue team, rather, so we will eventually just see a... Oh, transition to air right here from the red commander. Oh, maybe thinking about going into some of those good old-fashioned nuclear bombers, try and thin out some of these Navy numbers. Shuriken in the mix here. Actually, there's no anti-air in this mix. Hey, that's a potent combination. Shuriken plus Platypus is actually wonderful. We do need to focus the Shuriken because there's so few of them. Focusing those Shuriken to paralyze specific units first and then allowing them to... oh, there was a little bit of anti-air. But yeah, focusing those units first allows for a quite a bit more effective paralyzation because you really only have to paralyze them once and then the units can kill them. Rather than spreading them out. Unless you have enough of them, then you can spread them out. But otherwise, I would definitely recommend keeping them as focused as possible. One of the few cases where the attack move command, just left-click and dragging, is actually really effective. They'll move on after they've paralyzed something, so it can be really, really useful. Is anybody else scared about this AGO here? Usually I try and convert this to a prude at about the 10-minute mark. Does that make sense? Yeah, T2 is out about 6 minutes. Yeah, I usually have your T2 mexes up around 9 or 10-minute mark. Try and get that into a prude about as quick as possible. Bombers coming across. Do we have the fighters? The Lavender Commander went into T2, which means, of course, they have the tech advantage in the air, so those fighters are going to do quite a bit more damage against the bombers. But I think the swarm is there. Yeah, the fighters, the T1 Valiants are more than effective enough at shutting down these units. Nuclear bomber on the front line here. Don't know which bombing run to watch right here. Oh, bombs away on the AGO. Oh, this is why we make it into a... Ooh, that's why we make it into a prude. Bombs are away. Boom. AGO goes kablooey. Sending every single bit of technology down the drain right here, aside from the T2 lab, which at the very least the T2 lab is, the T2 lab is alive, very barely, but it is alive. We do have constructors as well, which evacuated nicely here. Witcher 13 not out of this game quite yet, but definitely takes a huge hit. Nuclear bomber returning for repairs. One of the few Armada units that I would recommend returning for repairs. Some of those T3 units, I mean, maybe like Titans or something, but yeah, frankly speaking, there's not a lot of units that are worth bothering to repair. Loads of anti-air available here from the from the Seafoam Green Commander. Clearly a little bit worried about nuclear bombers incoming here. Res subs also have eaten up all of the corpses here from not only the Platypus that went across, but also the friendly corpses, but we are... Man, spamming out a lot of those T1 anti-air bots. The T2 anti-air ships are quite a bit better, but obviously more boats can be effective if you spread them out, and then the nuclear bombers can only kind of target one at a time. Whereas if there's only 3 or 4 of those T2 anti-air boats, then, well, they're pretty easy to bomb apart. Blue team with a distinct advantage here, but not pushing it, interestingly enough. Maybe just waiting for that T3. We do have an APHIS finally starting up. A little bit of tick spam has come up and running right here from the purple commander. We do have T3 from the green commander. I guess a little tired of waiting for the backliner, says, fine, I'll do it myself. And just like Thanos has set up a good old-fashioned T3 lab. Oh, nuclear bombers without their escort. Oh, no. Nuclear bombers do go down. The Nuki Bee Liches do fall on top of that T3 gantry, but that would have been a prime target right there. If they could have sniped that gantry, that would have been a very huge hit. Suddenly 9,000 metal down the... Sorry, 8,000 metal down the drain. But it's not going to be the case. The first Marauder will roll out of the laboratory here for the green commander. It's a giant leap in technology. Not a bad one, though, and obviously after capturing all these mexes on the front line, producing 17 metal per second, you certainly have the economy for it. For Marauder, really only need about 80 metal per second. If you can do 80 metal per second, you can produce Marauder fairly quickly. We're up to about 50 to 60-ish right now. Again, not the end of the world, but those Marauder are going to come out a little bit slowly here. Slow Marauder's still better than basically anything else, though. We have tons of lightning tanks, and we are going for Starlights, though. The red commander has decided to put all the eggs into a single basket, and that basket is shaped like a giraffe and shoots blue laser beams at Mach a bajillion. At light speed, I guess. You can't really shoot a laser faster than that. Or slower than that, I guess, for clarity's sake. I took a little bit of physics. Not my strongest subject. I was definitely better at electronics and programming, but a little bit of physics. You had to take a little bit. Took a high-speed electronic course. That was pretty interesting. Learning about the ways that switching on and off electronic signals super fast generates a bunch of EMF radiation and all this other pesky interference. It's very difficult to deal with. The mother of all EMPs right there. 90% of the army has been paralyzed by the paralyzer missiles, and not for a short amount of time either. It's like a 14-second stun or something like that. Gigantic play right there from the blue team. A conclusive, decisive move right there as all the Starlights, lightning tanks, the T2 cons, the radar bots, or radar trucks, however you want to call them, They all go down. My goodness. Well played, cries out the teammate. Yeah. That was a wonderful maneuver right there. Seriously, those EMP paralyzers are so good. Especially with the nerf to the spy bots. The paralyzers have definitely seen their place up here in the meta as a more impressive paralyzation option. Looks like the orange base will be speed bumped here. Meat for the grinder, Southie. Fodder for the marauder and the welder to chew on, while the rest of the team thinks of some way to deal with all this. Sharpshooters are out, but it's only 3 of them. You need about 3 to kill a single marauder, and there's about 5 or 6 of them so far. Reinforcements incoming as well as resbots clean up all this wreckage here. One of the marauder actually does make it through. Ooh, the build power, just barely survives. That build power surviving is super critical here, actually. If that build power had gone down, I would say there's absolutely no chance, but I would say there's probably still one way to get back into this at this point, and that's to go ahead and just reclaim as much as you can. Try and grab these T2 mexes if you can, and just keep spamming out starlights. Obviously, spreading them out now is going to be crucial. Typically, one of those things you want to make sure is, done with all of your units, is that you spread them out quite generously. Looks like Brown Commander has left the game, by the way, and Araya has taken over, building some fusion reactors and whatnot in the backline. We do have double APHIS production, by the way, from the Tank Commander, now going into a T3 laboratory. Maybe a little bit sad to see T3 on the field here from the enemy team, and decides it's about time. As some gunships do pull apart a couple of these boats. Not bad. Fighters easily sweeping those out of the skies here. Sharpshooter, yeah, trying their best, but again, really only so much you can do. D-gun, D-gun, killer D-gun right here. Killer D, we're about to see it. There it is, the D-gun of the century. Sharpshooters cleaning up the rest of this. Nicely done from Commander Wind. Manages to keep the base alive at the very least here, but those air forces are growing, and that's concerning here. It should be anyways, to the red team. Whoa, single Marauder gets in the backline. Again, though, the build power survives. Oh, if the build power goes down, then this is GG. But the production just keeps staying up and running. I don't mean, it's a conundrum. Marauder body blocked here by a little bit of a stop command. Not bad. Couple more Marauder making it in the back line, though. Baguette Dumarite will be saved. Okay. Now, obviously, Marauder production going to be quite a bit higher here from the commander with quite a bit more eco. Not the end of the world, though, because the eco is, well, about to start scaling here for the purple commander. Eating up these fusions is going to be important. Otherwise, you're going to fall behind pretty quickly. Ooh, single welder as well. That's super annoying. Welder's very good against wind turbines, as it turns out. Their chain lightning attack quite decent at killing clumped together wind turbines. What am I looking at here? A rapid onset ping has been sent across the map. I have to imagine it's probably just a call for air to respond in some kind, some way. Anti-air truck's going to be quite a bit better, actually, I feel. Regular air defenses, no need to waste them when you have the ground defense anti-air. Couple of bad battleships, destroyers have been, Dreadnought rather, have been sent out here. Marauder, neither of the Marauder or the Dreadnought destroyed there. Ugh. Marauder gets through. We're experiencing leakage on the northern side, and that's always a dangerous situation because it's hard to patch a hole and defend yourself at the same time. Marauder are AFK. Ticks are actually going to be the heroes of the day right there, lasering down that Marauder that did sneak through into the backline. And eventually these tan Marauder will get into the action here. I'd love to see these handed off. There's really no need to hold on to your units if you're just going to, position them on the map. Look at this, though. The blue commander going for some ridiculous spam right now. Spamming from the water onto a bunch of laboratories on land, just pumping out unit after unit after unit. Loads and loads of these tanks have been produced here. Actually, I feel like the Dreadnoughts are doing more damage to these than any of the other units produced here by the red team. This is super annoying. Oh, red commander actually throws in the towel here. Hands all the units, all the production off. Ooh. Hands all the production off to the yellow commander. Missiles. This is, the tug of war back and forth here, but yeah. With a little bit of missile harassment, the AGO that should have been approved ages ago does pop. And with overwhelming aggression, with a nice little push and tons of reclaim, loads and loads of anti-nuke boats, by the way. Building an eco off anti-nuke boats is hilarious. It will indeed be the blue team who takes a gigantic advantage, and it's this humble commentator's opinion that that will be a big enough advantage for the victory here. Indeed it will. The resign vote is passed. The red team hangs their heads and must retreat for now from everybody's favorite Supreme Isthmus. Thanks a ton for watching, and if you did enjoy, of course, feel free to like and subscribe. All that good stuff that YouTubers love to hassle you about. And more importantly than that, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and I will see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason. Peace out, everybody.